Welcome to the saxophone instrument care and assembly video. I'm going to demonstrate on an alto saxophone today, but this information is the same for any type of saxophone that you might be playing. The first thing you need to do when you have a saxophone and you're going to assemble it is to make sure that the top of the case is facing up. Your case latches should flip up towards the sky, not down. Open your case. Beginning students, you'll want to make sure that you're doing this on the ground the first couple weeks so that we don't have any accidents and drop anything. First thing you'll do is take out a reed and take it out of the case. Put it into your mouth to soak it, or you can put it in a cup of water so that you are free to do other things. Next thing you'll need is your cork grease. Your cork grease looks like chapstick. However, it is not chapstick. So please do not use cork grease on your lips, and please do not use chapstick on your instrument. Take off the cap and go around, make sure you cover the whole cork lightly in cork grease and rub it in with your fingers. You'll need to do this about twice per week. If you don't do it, it's going to make it very difficult to put on your mouthpiece, and you can bend or break something on your instrument. So again, twice per week, apply your cork grease. If you have a brand new instrument, or if you have an instrument that you had the cork replaced, you'll notice that it's very difficult to put on, and you'll need to grease your cork every day for about the first 2 weeks. Take out your mouthpiece. You probably have a cap on it, so take off the cap. And you probably also have your ligature on. Take off the ligature. If you left the ligature on, you would scratch up the mouthpiece and ruin it. They're very expensive. Take your mouthpiece and gently twist on, holding down the octave key with your thumb. Not at the curved part, but at the end. Put your thumb on it and twist it on. The octave key will be on top, and the whole of the mouthpiece will be on the bottom, like that. Set that to the side. Take out your neck strap and put that over your head. Now take out your instrument. We want to make sure we're always grabbing it with 2 hands, never grabbing it by just the bell. You'll notice that there are braces throughout your instrument holding things together, and you would put stress on the braces and break it apart. We never grab it by the keys because you can bend and break the keys. Cradling at the curve towards the end of the bell, take your neck strap and make sure that you clip it on to the hole on the middle, the connector piece. Make sure that it's fully clipped and that you didn't accidentally break the clip. These plastic clips sometimes break and people don't realize it, and then it slips off of your neck or your neck strap and falls on the ground. So make sure we didn't accidentally have an accident, and then go ahead and let that hang around your neck. For bari sax, you probably have the neck strap that comes around and behind you and clips in the front. Take your reed, your neck and mouthpiece, and your ligature. And now we're going to assemble that part of the instrument. Place your ligature on the mouthpiece. It should go on easily. If you put it on the wrong way, it's not going to go down. Don't force it down. Take it off and flip it back around. The screws of your ligature should be facing on your right. So when I look at the hole of my mouthpiece, my ligature screws are on my right side, and now I'm going to slide the reed in. You'll notice that your reed has the brand name written on it, and you have the curved tip, which is very fragile. If you held it to the light, you can see through the tip, and then you have the flat bottom. The tip of the reed is going to line up with the tip of the mouthpiece. You'll notice they're both curved. Take your fingers and slide up the ligature so that it's a little bit easier to work with. And now slide down the reed. The words are facing the hole. They're not going into the hole. It sits right in front of it. And now we're going to maneuver this into place. We never touch the tip of the reed because, again, it's so thin that you can break it very easily. And you're going to wiggle it down so that you have the tip of the reed and the tip of the mouthpiece lined up. The ligature screws, the gap that's in between those should be in the center of your reed. And then your mouthpiece might have little guidelines to line up to the ligature. If yours is like mine, it does not. You'll see we have this curve of the mouthpiece and then it starts to go straight. We're going to go beneath that point where they meet up by about 1/4 of an inch and then tighten the ligature screws. So let me show you that again. One thing that we don't want to do is put the reed on the mouthpiece and then slide the ligature over because it can chip it. And we don't want to put the ligature on and slide up from the bottom because, again, you can chip your reed. So we place the ligature on, screws facing towards the right, slide your ligature up, gently grab your reed, words facing the hole, not going into the hole, slide it down into place, line up the tip of the reed to the tip of the mouthpiece, being careful not to actually touch the tip of the reed. Screws, gap in between, in the center of the reed, lining up the ligature to the guidelines, or if you don't have guidelines, where it starts to go straight, about 1/4 of an inch beneath that point. And now we're going to tighten the screws. We should always tighten the bottom screw first, and we just tighten it until it stops, and then we do the top screw. Very important to always do the bottom one. You'll notice that the gap is probably not going to fully close up. That is normal. The next thing that we do is twist this onto our saxophone. We never grab by the end here because as you're twisting this in, you will actually taco this. It will bend in half and break. I've seen it happen many times before. We always hold at the curve here, making sure that we're holding that octave key down so it doesn't wiggle around and get bent. Make sure that the screw at the top of the body is loosened, so you're going to turn it towards the left, which would be towards your face. Put your fingers on the keys so that it doesn't fall over. We don't want to grab it around the keys because we don't want to bend and break something. And just wiggle this gently into place. The bottom of your octave key, which is the curved part here, is going to sit on top of this straight piece right here. Okay, so let me show you that a little bit closer. Grabbing by the curve, securing our octave key, body screw is loosened, gently twist, small motion, this piece sitting on top of this piece. If it's difficult to push in, it probably means that that joint, what we call the tenon, is dirty. So you'll take your silk swab and rub it around here and also clean on the inside of here. We never use grease or oil on that part of the saxophone because it's just going to make it dirty and make it even more problematic. Once you have this part of the saxophone assembled, you're going to lift it up by the bell, cinch up your neck strap so that it lines out to your mouth, and you don't have to reach up, but you also don't have to reach down. Line it up to your height. Adjust your neck and your mouthpiece so that everything is in the correct playing position for you. If you're an alto sax player, you have the option of playing centered, so it's going to have a different setup than if you're playing sideways. And then tighten your body screw just until it stops turning. Don't turn it past that because you will break it off. And that's how you clean, or how you assemble your saxophone. Now we need to talk about how you're going to clean this out. So we do the exact opposite procedure. We're going to unscrew our ligature, pushing our thumb at the bottom of the reed, loosen it free, and then you're going to take that reed and either wipe it on a pant, leg, or a shirt, or you can use your silk swab that we're going to be using here shortly and wipe it off on that, and set that reed inside of the reed case. The cases that your reeds come inside of, these clear plastic ones, they are not meant to store your reeds. They're only meant to ship them until you buy them. Throw these away as soon as you purchase them and you take out the reed. You're going to put your reed inside of a reed case. This keeps your reed flat. You'll notice that with a piece of paper, if you get it wet and then it dries out, that your paper is very wavy. The same thing happens to our reeds. If you put it in those clear plastic containers that they come in, they will actually get wavy. They don't keep them flat. It might look like they might, but they don't. And it makes them more difficult to play. You will go through reeds a lot faster. You're going to need to get a reed case. This one is a 2-pack because I can put 2 reeds on it. You'll want to get one that has 4 because you should be rotating your reeds out on a daily basis. New reeds squeak and squawk a lot, and they're hard to play. If you chipped a reed before a concert, you would want to make sure that you have other reeds that you've already played on so that you can perform successfully and not have to fight your instrument to get a good sound. Take your reed and slide it into that flat part. Be careful not to chip your reed. And then you're good to go. Take the ligature off and gently twist off the mouthpiece. Again, we're securing the octave key here so that nothing gets bent. Run your silk swab through the mouthpiece. It might not fit all the way through it, so don't force it. We don't want it to get stuck and ruin your mouthpiece. Set that to the side. Lift up from the bell here, cradle your saxophone. Slip off your neck strap. Put that into your case. And now we're going to swab out the saxophone. Use the drop weight on the end of it. Take off the neck. Again, securing that octave key so we don't twist or break it. And drop it through. We never use a cotton swab because the fibers on cotton can actually come off onto the pads of your instrument and ruin your pads. Silk does not give off fibers, that's why it's more safe. We don't use those yellow chamois-like swabs. They're kind of like a yellow spongy material. Those get stuck inside. It's very expensive to remove, and sometimes you just end up breaking the instrument when you do that. So we drop the weight in, and then we're going to pull it out the bell. Make sure that it is actually coming out the bell of your saxophone and that it has not come out of one of these keys here, because you're going to pull it through and then it's going to bend open those keys and break the instrument. So double check that it's actually coming out the bell, pull it through, and you should be good. Place that, again, 2 hands on our instruments at all times. Place your instrument into the case, making sure that it's snug in its spot correct. And you'll want to go through your neck as well. Hopefully your drop weight fits in. Again, it might get a little bit snug, and if it does, stop. Don't pull it through all the way. Mine happens to fit all the way through. Put the neck back into its cubby in your case. Place your ligature onto the mouthpiece, and if you have your cap it and place that into its little cubby. Make sure your reed is in the reed case. All of your things are put away properly, and then you're good to go. That's how we take care of our saxophone. If you have a Barry saxophone, your silk swab is going to be a long rod that you just put through the top end of that body. You also need to make sure that when you assemble your neck on, there's a curve, and the octave key is set up just a little bit different on Barry saxophone. Make sure on Barry saxophone that you blow out the spit from the bottom of the curve. You'll notice that there is a button there, kind of like on a trumpet or any of the other brass instruments. Blow through, open it, to make sure that there's no spit collecting in there. That's it.